Let's try that again with audio. Do we have audio now? Okay, my bad. We have audio. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oz by Drone, live and unplugged. It was unplugged with definitely no audio. We have audio now, I hope. Please confirm that in the chat. We're up today on Twitter and on YouTube and on Facebook. So why am I here today? So I wanted to share with people there is a nationwide cable outage happening right now on the Telstra network. The entire country is off the air. Yes, that's right. The entire country is off the air. Now, I kind of know a few things about the internet, and I thought I'd talk about how to design a nationwide network where you don't have these outages, or if you do have them, that you can recover from them very, very quickly. And I also thought I'd share with you what Telstra said, because I did speak to someone from the responsible centre. So, first of all, how do you design a network that's going to not fail? Well, you have redundancy, number one. That's pretty basic, networking 101. But in addition to that, if something fails, what is your planned failure? What do you actually do when there's a failure? Now, I know from my own experience, when something fails, you have something that's not your normal system that's still going to do what it is you need to do so your customers can get online. So let's talk about the Telstra outage failure. They actually admitted to me on the phone, and I won't quote the name of the person, but it was someone from the cable internet centre. They actually said, yes, it's a nationwide outage. That's the first thing they confirmed. The second thing they confirmed is that it was an authentication plane outage. The authentication plane is not an airline. It's something that the cable modems talk to these devices and say, hey, has this customer paid their bill? Are they allowed to get online on the internet? And where are we going to put them on the internet? Where are we going to connect them to? How is it all going to work? In simple terms, it might be a radius server as one of the common technologies that people would use in an internet company for authentication. There are others, but let's assume for the moment Telstra is using a radius server. If they're doing that, all they need to do is to have another radius server that's close to the existing one, that if everything else fails, it's going to say yes to everything. This guy wants to connect to the internet. Yes, we're not going to check his account. We're not going to see if he's paid his bill. We're not going to do anything else. We're just going to say yes to everything. An authentication server that doesn't look at the database, doesn't do anything else, but it just says yes. It's not rocket science. If you've got an authentication server and the primary one is dead, you might have a backup that connects to the same database, but I'm going to make a guess that it's the database that's crashed. Why wouldn't you have a server that doesn't look at the database? Every request that comes in, yes, it's not rocket science. So then we get to the next problem. Now, Telstra, I spoke to the people in the centre that looks after the cable network today, and I asked them another question. I said, look, I've had a look on your outage page today and there's no outage listed. Now, either you guys are ostriches and you put your head in the sand, or that website doesn't work. And the response was kind of telling and revealing. Telstra actually said, yeah, look, that outage page is not fed from automated systems that detect problems. It's not fed from that. There are humans that go and put the information on the outage page. So they're not monitoring their network, or at least if they are, they're not exposing that monitoring information to their customers. They said that one of the reasons why that happened is related to the NBN. So if you've got NBN now owning the cable network that Telstra sold to them, they won't put anything on their outage page until the NBN admit to it. Which is wrong, absolutely dead wrong. You don't only put outages up if the NBN is down. What if your authentication server, Telstra, your authentication server, you own it, it's yours. Are you not monitoring it? And if it's down, don't you think it'd make sense to go and tell every one of your customers on the outage page that it's offline? Or is that common sense? So Luke Bentley in chat is saying, but yes is Optus, bro. Yeah, okay. Nice joke, nice humour. It's true that Optus's slogan is yes, but Telstra, you need an authentication server that will say yes to every request. Can Greg get on the internet? Yes. Can this guy over there get on the internet? Yes. Say yes to every single request coming in. It doesn't matter if your database is working or not. And you can build a nationwide radius server on a computer that'll cost you $20 to build on a little Raspberry Pi, and it will do nothing but say yes. And it's about the size of a cigarette packet, and it would say yes to every request. And all of a sudden, you'd have a backup plan for the first time in your life that let this actually work. What a novel concept. Anyway, Mark's Drone Works, I'm hearing you, Greg. Yeah. There's a funny slogan from another telephone company in the US. Can you hear me now? Was their slogan, because the people who were making the phone calls used a different company. In this case, can you hear me now? Well, actually, here's an interesting one. If you ring up Telstra today from my suburb, from my location, you dial up the support phone number and it goes to about 5 or 10 minutes and then they just hang up on you. You're in the queue and they'll hang up on you. That's it. That's what they call service. Luckily for me, I've had previous dealings with Telstra and I had a different phone number to try and get through to someone who can actually answer instead of their front-end call center. And like I said, they admitted, number one, yes, cable internet is down. Number two, it's a nationwide outage. And number three, the outage's webpage is totally incorrect and inaccurate and does not reflect reality. And number four, it is not fed from any automated tools. It doesn't come from that. It comes from someone who says, oh yeah, we got to own up to it. We've got to admit to it now. Yeah, it's kind of like that. We've got to let people know that there is an outage, but you know, they don't want to press that button that tells people that their internet is down. They don't want to do that. They don't want to own up to it. Kind of like the banks and the Royal Commission they had over here in Australia. The banks don't want to own up and admit to the problems. Well, Telstra, they don't want you to know about the problem. That's the fact. If your internet is down, they don't want anyone to know. Anyway, Telstra got hacked is a comment from Dale Zappel in the chat right now. It's possible. I don't want to start a rumour. What was the root cause of the problem? If I was making a guess, and if I was building the network for this infrastructure for Telstra, it's not their radius servers that are dead, it's probably their database backend or a network-related fault. If it's a network fault, they should be able to fix it up and clear it up really, really easily. I mean, this thing happened at about 1:30 in the morning, 2, 3, 4, 9 hours they've been down now, 9 hours. And they should be able to fix a network fault in that time. So I think it's actually a database failure, number one, and number two, I don't think they have a yes server for authentication, something that can actually say, yeah, we're going to let everyone in. I mean, that just makes too much sense. Luke Bentley is saying, let's blame it on climate change. Well, everyone's blaming climate change for everything else. I'm just having a look over here in Twitter. Maddie Jenkos, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. The chat that we're having at the moment that I'm sharing is coming from the YouTube chat. I'm just going to say hi over here. Don't know how many people we got on Twitter. I think we got 3 over there. Facebook, I haven't. How many people have we got over here? So Katrina Handley. Hi, Katrina. Welcome to the Facebook version of this happening at the moment. And just to share with people again, what is it that we said at the beginning of the broadcast in case you joined late? Telstra is offline. And I don't just mean in my suburb, I mean the entire country. I mean everyone who's using Telstra cable internet, and it's affecting everyone currently nationwide. It was offline at about, in fact, I'll get the exact time that it went down for me. Let's have a look. When was it? Or I actually should say it went down for my parents, not for me. So my parents are still on legacy Telstra cable. I've already moved over to NBN. So if you're on NBN with Telstra, this outage is not affecting you. And it went offline at exactly 18 minutes past 1 in the morning. And here's the interesting telling thing. When I spoke to the call centre of the people who had a look at that, they said, oh yeah, we only just started looking at it. So there was an outage at 20 past 1 in the morning, and either there was no monitoring system telling someone about this, or the people who were looking at the monitoring system choose to do nothing about it. They didn't want to wake someone up. They didn't want to tell someone about the problem. 18 past 1 in the morning. No, we're not going to fix it. We're going to wait for the people to come in during the daytime. Hello, Dancer 0097. Welcome on the Twitter service there. So yeah, blame climate change. They wouldn't want to admit fault. No. It probably is climate change, you know, that's what is going to come out from this one. Any other thoughts and comments? Let me see. Internet services in general, like I said, you need redundancy in them. It's a shame that Telstra don't have enough redundancy to keep this service running. And it's a shame, like I said, that they don't have a capability to authenticate all services, just say yes to everything. And it's a shame that their monitoring systems don't work. And it's a shame that if they do work, how am I streaming now, Nick? So it's my parents and everyone who's on cable internet. I'm on NBN, which is kind of the next generation, but not everyone has gone over to NBN yet. It's a shame that their monitoring systems don't work, or if they do work, that no one does anything about it. I mean, heaven forbid, the internet's not working. Oh, we'll wait for the morning shift. Don't worry about it. It's only the whole country that's offline. It doesn't matter. Okay. Any last questions? I'm just going to have one quick look through each of the platforms that I'm on today. Katrina's over there on Facebook. No other questions there. Nothing on Twitter at the moment. Greg has NBN, Nick Dystra. Yes, I have NBN. Gary Happert is saying maybe Telstra is going belly up. Well, it's interesting you say that. I think Telstra is going through a few financial challenges at the moment. The fact that they used to get profit out of the entire supply chain. They owned the network. It was theirs. They already had that sunken cost. Now that they've sold it, they've got a big cash injection that's gone into their bank balance. So they've sold that old network to the government. But the profit margins, they can't make the same profit margin right now because they don't own the network anymore, and they don't know what to do about it because their costs are still pretty high. And they're losing customers who are going elsewhere. They used to have an advantage, and the advantage was that they owned the network, so they didn't have anyone else. Redundancy is no-brainer, says Nick Dystra. I can't believe they are really that inept. For those people who watch my broadcasts on a regular basis, you will know that they are that inept, unfortunately. It's what we have. It's the network that we have in this country. So look, that's all I've got for now. It was just a quick little broadcast to let people know who may be searching Twitter or Facebook or whatever for a Telstra outage. 1, there is an outage. 2, it affects all cable internet customers. 3, Australia-wide, every single customer is affected. Number 4, their monitoring systems, if they did detect it, they didn't do anything about it, and their processes are totally inadequate and inappropriate. They didn't have any backup plan. They didn't have a strategy to deal with an authentication layer outage. This is the country we live in. I just wanted to share that, and hopefully someone can share this to a Telstra executive so that they can go and say, hey, yeah, you know what? We need to actually lift our game and do something so that next time it won't happen. Okay. Enough. Nick is saying, like I've said before, Greg, make your own. If Telstra is that bad, you're sitting on a cash cow. Well, unfortunately, the cost to enter the market and compete against Telstra is significant because you can't build your own physical infrastructure anymore. The NBN own that for the entire country, and the cost to enter for a small carrier, a small provider, is not insignificant. There are other internet companies that do compete against Telstra. There's a good question. Why don't I use someone else? Well, in effect, I am now because I've already moved on to NBN. At the moment, it doesn't make any difference who you're with. The only reason to stay with Telstra on NBN might be the fact that they've got a 4G backup, which runs very, very slow when it kicks over. But that's the only reason to stay with Telstra as far as I'm concerned. There's plenty of other companies that can give you the same NBN service, but Telstra, why would you stay with them? That's the only reason as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, that's all. It's been fun. See you next time. Bye for now.